You want to know how there's going to be some actual quality in this video? I wrote a script for it. Hello, I'm Miss DS Woman, and today I'm going to be talking about The Sims. More specifically, the mobile games that the Sims franchise has. The two games that I'll be talking about are The Sims Freeplay and The Sims Mobile. At this specific time, when you search for The Sims in the App Store or the Google Play Store, we don't discriminate, you will find The Sims Freeplay and The Sims Mobile, and SimCity Builded, but I didn't download that, so we're going to save that for a later day. The Sims Freeplay was released in 2011, while The Sims Mobile was released in 2017. The truth is, I have downloaded and played both of these games for a while when they first came out, so unfortunately I can't give you a first impression of them. But I can play both games starting from the beginning. Yeah, I deleted my sim data for this video. You're welcome. And give you a side-by-side comparison to answer the question, what's the difference between them? This video in particular is going to be covering The Sims Freeplay, and the next video I post will be covering The Sims Mobile, so stay tuned for that. For the sake of this video, I reinstalled both games on my phone, and I have to note that The Sims Mobile installed instantly, but for some reason The Sims Freeplay took a good minute. But it may have been my Wi-Fi connection, I don't know. Anyway, after I downloaded both games, I decided to play them chronologically, starting with, as I mentioned earlier, The Sims Freeplay. The game starts with a nice little pan throughout the city that will eventually be yours, full of the Sims that you create. Then, we are given the chance to create our very first Sim. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a fan of the way that the Sims look in this game, and especially not the clothing options they're given. Before I elaborate on my position here, I need to preface it by saying, please do not think that I'm trying to pass off any of my complaints as criticism. I couldn't create an app to save my life, so I don't want anyone to think that I'm acting all high and mighty and that I know how a mobile game should and should not be created. Everything that I say on this channel is just my opinion. It's just that the skin colors are so pasty and the clothes are so dusty. I'm sorry, it's just how I feel, okay? And I know that the original Sims weren't picture perfect either, but to me, they still feel natural. These Freeplay Sims don't feel natural to me, but I'm making this more than what it is. I got used to the Sims eventually, and they look just fine for the gameplay. Speaking of the gameplay, let's actually get back to that, shall we? So I made my very first Sim inspired by me, Miss DS Woman. I made my Sim look like my avatar as best I could, considering the shade range, and I also decided to rock a Sims t-shirt with some jean shorts and green-ish tennis shoes. After all that, the game sent you to tutorial mode, showing you the various movements you can make with your fingers to operate the camera. I have to mention that I love this hands-on camera movement that's presented here. It works really smoothly on my device, and I can get a lot of close-up angles that you'll see later in the video. But basically the game gives you a tutorial quest, which is the introduction to quests in the game. Quests are a big part of both The Sims Freeplay and Mobile, but we'll get to that point eventually. In the tutorial quest, the game has you buy furniture, add walls, look at your clothing. Can you believe they made me check to see if my outfit was right, as if I wasn't looking mad fresh? And fulfill the needs of your Sim. That's literally what the game calls it, don't look at me. In The Sims Freeplay, all of your Sims need to be taken care of. They need entertainment, they need to be fed, they need to be clean, and they need social interaction. Speaking of which, the tutorial quest also makes you create a whole other Sim for your town. So the Sim version of me is about to make a new friend. At least I'll be making friends somewhere. So we're thrown back into the Sim customization maker, and I'm thinking, yo, this Sim looks really cool actually. Why couldn't my Sim get the same energy? In fact, the Sim looks so decent that I didn't even bother to customize them. I just gave them a name, but I put a lot of careful thought into that name, okay? First I put Test Girl, but I thought, that's a bit weird. Sims are people too. So then I decided to give her an elegant name like Crystal Evans, but that was too elegant, so I decided to go with Maya Evans instead. So Maya Evans moved into the house next door to me, and she decided to invite me over because she wanted to get to know her neighbors. So I wanted to impress Maya, and I tried to be funny, but I ended up doing some bad and nasty things to her. I'm so sorry, Maya. So after that, the game has you build the community park, which is gonna take a few minutes, and I'm not spending my gems on all that, so you'll just have to wait. Just kidding, I'm not putting you through that. So the park was constructed, and it made my overall town value go up. In this game, every house has a value that the player is able to collect from time to time. I like this system, and I think it's a cool way to reward the player every now and then. Anyway, after all of that, my sim returned home, and Maya and I fulfilled our needs and went to bed for the night. Also, another cool detail is that the sky turns dark when it's nighttime and the lights are automatic in each room, but y'all knew that. So the next day, Maya and I woke up, did our morning routine to fulfill our needs. On a side note, it kind of took me a minute to find out how to increase the Sims entertainment, so if you see that department is lacking, that's why. And I decided to complete my first quest, which is the breadwinner quest. But here's the twist. The first sim that you make in this game has to get a job in the tutorial quest. So my sim had no choice but to become a firefighter because strangely, that's the only place of business operating in this town at the moment. I mean, hey, at least it's for safety. My sim's work bell has been ringing for the longest time, so I decided to send my sim to work, leaving my girl Maya Evans to do most of the quest work. My sim won't be back for a minute. So Maya's unemployed self, that's not the only unemployed, she literally doesn't have a job, goes to watch Sim Chef on TV. This will be a good time to mention that every task that a sim does in this game has a specific time limit. Most of them are so oddly specific, and I don't know why. However, if you want the task completed as soon as possible, you can spend gems to make that happen. I'm cheap though, so I didn't spend any in this video. And she gets so inspired by that wonderful TV program that she goes to buy her own stove and become a chef. A house chef anyway. Maya's so excited about her brand new stove that she decides to use it right away and makes the only thing I can even remotely cook, bacon and eggs. Ignore that cooking animation, it's literally used for anything you cook in this game. After she finishes cooking, we earn a golden spatula, which is part of the many accessories that the player wins from completing hobby tasks. It's a cute little achievements board. And even though there's a perfectly good table in the next room, Maya decides to leave her plates of bacon and eggs on the floor. Don't ask me why. Maya proceeds to grab a plate and chow down on a tasty looking breakfast for the day. That's something I must praise in this game. The food that the Sims make looks specifically close to what you select for them to prepare, and you'll see more of this later. Of course, Maya can't just leave dirty dishes all around the house, literally, so she cleans up her used plate all while standing on her fresh plates. What a waste of food. The next task was to search the bookshelf in the house for a cookbook, but there was no way I was going to let Maya leave those other dishes on the floor any longer, so she cleaned those up too. Now, I had no idea where the bookshelf was in Maya's house, so I stupidly spent 700 simoleons on an elegant bookcase when I couldn't even use it to do what I was supposed to. Right after that, I saw the giant bookcase in Maya's bedroom. Way to go, Miss DS Woman, and used it to search for the cookbook. But don't worry, I was able to sell the elegant bookcase for 70 simoleons. Yay! By the way, if you buy something you don't want to keep in the game, you can obviously sell it like I just did, which is good, but you just receive way less money than what you bought it for. It took a minute to find that cookbook, like 4 hours worth of a minute, but eventually Maya found it. The very first recipe was for cheese and tomato on toast, so that's what my girl Maya wants to make next. So I have to buy a whole toaster for Maya to use, but it's all good because she rewarded me by actually putting her food on the table. We love progress. So I had to make Maya eat another plate, and she then decided to eat it outside. Again, don't ask me why. The cheese and tomato on toast tasted so good that my girl Maya wanted to share her cooking skills with the whole town. And by the whole town, I mean my sim and my sim only. Also a side note, when I looked at my list of Sims at this time, I saw this guy named Cam Ham, and I was like, who the heck is this? So I clicked on his name, and the game took me to some nightclub that I will not be exploring because that would make this video way more longer and complex, so here's a sneak peek of it for now. After returning from that, I discovered that it would be about 2 hours before my sim returned from work. Yeah, I be working hard. Anyways, I'll take you to after those 2 hours have passed. So my sim came to Maya's house after a hard day's work, but can you believe I came all the way over there and Maya didn't even cook anything yet? I'm just kidding, take your time, Maya. Maya decides to cook some hamburgers for us, ignore the fact that my phone is dying, and gets right to it. I also want to mention this cute thing that the Sims in this game do where if someone gets in their way, they pause for a second, and if the Sim in the way doesn't move, then they proceed to pass. How polite. Anyway, while Maya works on the burgers, my Sim goes to watch the news and get some inspiration. When Maya finishes cooking the burgers, she puts the dishes on the floor. Again, I thought we were making progress here, Maya. She lets my Sim know and we sit at the table and enjoy the food together. The next task was for a Sim to rest their eyes on the couch, but I had my Sim do it because she just came back from work. When I look at it, that seems kind of messed up. I'm sorry, Maya. And with that, the breadwinner quest was completed, and we have officially completed the cooking hobby. Afterwards, Maya and my Sim complete our nightly routine and go to sleep. And that is the first quest presented to you in the Sims Freeplay. Now obviously there's a lot more to this game that is not presented in this video, but from my experience with this game and the making of this video, I can tell you that the game may not be a typical Sims platform. It's very quest driven and oriented, but if you want the Sims experience on your phone or tablet, I would still give it a try. This was my game back in 2016 when it was poppin'. My overall rating for the game is a 7 out of 10. In the next video, I will take an extensive look at the first quests in The Sims Mobile. Why more than one quest? Well, that's a long story, but we'll get to it eventually. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, especially if you made it this far, you're a real one, and have a great rest of your day.